It's not my fault.
All right. What the hell, fucking Eric? Let's start this shit already. I'm sure Joey got some shit to do.
He already started recording.
Oh, he did. All right, cool.
Yeah, we'll still over there trying to set up his friggin' mini Pornhub.
Nice. We're almost there or what?
Yeah, but the climax right now, baby. All right.
All right.
Yeah, right.
1 minute, man. Can't last.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I was trying out this new TV, new setup with lighting, but I guess that didn't work out too well.
Perpetuating stereotypes over there.
All right. Well, shit. Hey, well, welcome, guys. Thank you for doing this with me.
For sure.
Definitely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, well, it's going to be, hopefully it's a funny one. I'm not too sure how this is going to turn out because we're talking about the, the elephant that left. The elephants are Republicans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So technically we're going to talk about the elephant that's still in the room.
Still in the room.
Yeah.
Still in the Oval Office.
Still in the office, yeah. And it's gonna be interesting. I guess we'll see where we go from this. Usually we do comedy. I think this is kind of funny, except for the millions of people that this is kind of affecting right now. So let's see how dark we can get, right?
Oh, Jerry likes it dark.
Oh yeah, we're about to go way dark.
Just a bunch of snowflakes. Snowflakes out there, falling from the sky, delicate and crisp.
We're gonna go before bleach my LA asshole dark.
Damn. There we go.
Trying to get every job over there.
Oh yeah, dude.
Anything and everything for Slim.
Rosie O'Donnell was like, if I'll let you be on the show as a seasonal cast. I'm like, okay. I'm like,
kidding. Diving in.
Yeah, and that's a big.
I don't even think she.
That's questionable territory.
Yeah.
Shit.
There's a reason Trump fucking made fun of her so many times, dude. So.
Oh yeah, man. Don't worry. I'm cutting most of these out, and I'm probably gonna like cut. No worries.
It's not politically correct.
Well, I think for just for shits and giggles, I'll probably just cut out the audio and be like, if you want to hear more, subscribe to the Patreon. $2 a month.
America.
Jesus.
It's like, damn, these guys are racist.
It's okay though, because we're all minorities, even though Ramiro doesn't like to admit that.
We're not, dude. We're a majority.
Majorities.
We're becoming a majority here, okay?
Well, before we get on the minority talk, today we got Ramiro, Yan Man, and Joey, or we call him Jerry, Double J, big spender,
big sexy,
the equalizer,
ancient astronaut theorist.
Today we're going to talk about the good old Donald Trump, man. And well, let's just get into it. So the election just happened. It took about a week, and we finally,
a few days.
We finally got the results today, right? Today is Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Fucking coincidence, right?
The last two states were confirmed. North Carolina went to Trump. Georgia went to Biden.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a surprise, honestly. That was a shock to me. I didn't think
first time in 28 elections or some craziness. 28 years.
Yeah, it's some ridiculous number like that. Just like Nevada, or I mean Arizona. Arizona went to Biden, and that was the first time since like '96 when Clinton was elected. So that was a big shocker for most people too.
And I saw a statistic that said part of Arizona flipping was actually some Native American and indigenous people votes that kind of tipped the scales in Arizona. It was towards Biden, away from Trump.
It was something like 77% natives actually came out to vote. Damn. It was like some ridiculous number. Yeah.
And the article I'd seen was tying into that they have a they're having a bad time right now with COVID. That they're like extra susceptible. They're like one of the highly one of the communities that's highly affected, but they still came out in like droves.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, they wanted this guy out of the office. They hated this guy so bad that they were willing to risk getting COVID to kick this guy out.
Shit.
Yeah, and it was, I think, like, I don't have the numbers on this, but he approved a bunch of pipelines, right? That kind of fucked a lot of their lands up.
Well, that was like North Dakota, though, right? Wasn't it? North
Yeah,
Dakota?
it was Native Americans, different Native Americans, but
Yeah.
Native American ancestral burial grounds, stuff like that. And then actually,
you mean they're not all Indians?
They're all like,
just kidding. Just kidding.
Like, what? Different dialect. Come on.
but the Dakota Access Pipeline, the one that was in the media in the last couple of years recently, they actually got pushed forward through Obama. Obama actually helped them get that in too. But then they got through, and then they had a big spill right in the main waterway, and that was the whole point that they were trying to make, was that waterway sustains their people still, and they just spilled, a couple 100 gallons of oil in it. No big deal.
Well, I thought that was blocked before Obama left office, right?
They were fighting it, right?
Right.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was blocked, and then
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I saw that he gave ground before he left.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I could look at it. But yeah, that I didn't know that it started by Obama. That's a trip. I don't doubt it though.
The process was started under Obama.
I don't fucking doubt that. Yeah. Because he did the same exact thing by deporting hella, illegal immigrants. He was the one that initiated that whole program, so I don't doubt that he would do that. Yeah.
And two, there's other things where he said, like in particular, because I'm a connoisseur of the cannabis. He talked about in his re-election campaign that he was going to go away from coming at medical dispensaries, especially like the ones we have here in California. And he actually reversed that, and they actually were just as bad as like the Bush era tactics, from what I understand, in his second term. But yeah, some different things but he's a politician. He has to say things to get elected.
Yeah.
So correction. So it was blocked by the Obama administration back in 2016. And then President Trump reinitiated it, and he signed the executive act to start the process again in 2017.
Gotcha.
Wait, so then it was initiated by Bush?
No, actually, they never even initiated. So they pushed Obama to put the blockade in the first place, because there was a lot of politics going around in the area, at least from what I could read off the bat. And then he put a block in 2016 with all the pressure and all the politics that were going on at the time. Yeah, on his way out. And then Trump came in the next year and initiated the whole pipeline again. I guess the restart the construction. Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
Pretty tough, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you did the facts check for me, so I don't have to put it on screen later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a phone. What's that? It's gonna have some kind of purpose.
Yeah, I got two screens over here, but the other one I can't even see it because I'm blind. But yeah, man, I think Obama did deport a lot of illegal immigrants. For me, where Trump deportation affected me was when I think a lot of Vietnam War refugees started getting deported, and then that's why I was like, all right, now it's personal,
Damn, there you go.
This is my village, one man, one village, right?
But one right.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mexican servicemen that got deported as well.
Yeah.
I saw that for multiple years in our military. I don't know how that's on a path to citizenship, but
must have some kind of loophole in that, where you're like, well, if you don't live up to this or that, like, I guess you're basically done at that point.
6 years though. I'm all More than 90% of Americans. No.
Well, do you think it's because like the certain state that they're serving in needed to meet like a quota or something to deport people to get funding?
No, I think that was just recently, as far as I was told, that was just like under ICE stuff. Because what Obama was doing was deporting them like as they came in, as opposed to locking them in cages.
Well, what I thought happened was when you came here and seek refuge, Obama would was it like they would let the family live in America, right, under a certain special condition while awaiting trial?
Well, there's asylum seekers, and then there's people that got caught coming over that weren't asylum seekers.
Yeah.
There's like the variants, I guess. But what Obama was doing was just sending them back, and they were just coming back, and he was just sending them back again. So he was just kind of almost passing it off, but he deported, I think, over 2 million, and that was more than Bush and Clinton combined, or something crazy like that.
He had a ridiculous number, yeah. He had a ridiculous.
So who was he really, or so who was he mainly deporting? What nationality? Was it just like Hispanics, or was it also like people who overstayed their green cards or overstayed their visa?
As far as I know that he was doing a lot of like severe people like that have committed some severe crime. That they were basically in the process of our judicial system to be indicted either life or because they committed some type of like big offense, and then he was just deporting them. He was like, fuck this, I don't want them to be in our system type of thing, and he was just kicking them all out. He's like, well, if you're committed, or if you are caught with any kind of misdemeanor, then you'll go through the process, you'll be fine, you won't be kicked out type of thing. At least that's how I know, that's how I read that it was going on. I mean, I could be wrong, I don't know the details on it, honestly.
But then that kind of leads us to racial-based policies, and then we can just delve into Stephen Miller, and we can talk about kids in cages. We can talk about the Muslim ban. We can talk about all kinds of racist Stephen Miller policies.
Dude, there's been so many policies throughout the last 4 years that they kind of just mush into one. Like I totally forgot about the whole Muslim ban, because everything that's happened this year. There was the travel ban or travel restriction. There was never really a ban for people coming in and out of America during the times of COVID. I believe people were still able to go to Hong Kong or even just go to China during COVID, right? If you had special permission, right? You're still allowed to fly to China.
I'm sure you were. I don't know how it is now. I don't think they're even letting anybody anymore, since we're the most populated, or the most the country with the most
cases.
Yeah. Ridiculous. I think it was at 133K last time I read.
Damn.
A day. Positive case. A day, yeah. It's ridiculous. But hey, that's what happens. I mean, I went to a fucking restaurant today.
Gone up since November 1st.
Damn. I know everybody on Facebook was talking about how after the election, nobody was going to talk about COVID anymore because COVID is a Democratic conspiracy. Should we talk about these Democratic conspiracy? Because
dude,
it's funny they said that. It's funny they said that because the cases have gone like astronomically up since November 1st. From the 1st till now, it's like just going crazy, spiking.
Yeah. When I was looking at the map, Google actually has a map about where the cases are and how much how many people are infected, and it seems like the majority of the cases are within red states.
Yeah, I saw that, dude.
The majority of the cases are in red states. Yeah. If you look at the map, I'll put the map on in the edits, but if you look at the east and south, that entire area, it's fucking blowing up like a bunch of pimples, man.
Yeah, whereas in the states with liberal governors or Democratic governors, they're mandating more restrictions and more caution.
Yeah, well, except for California, because California is now the most infected state.
Yeah, we also have the most probably people per capita as well.
Yeah, I think the majority, I think the majority of the cases though are in SoCal and the Central Valley, where restrictions was a bit more loose.
Yeah, Republican counties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Sacramento, we're considered a purple zone.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like we're leaning almost towards the red now as far as severity.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, as today's Friday, so starting Monday, they're mandating a shutdown of the city.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're shutting down the whole city, and you can't eat out anywhere. You have to do everything to go, type of thing. So.
Well, can you still go to the store?
Legit. Yeah, you're able to go to the store, but they're limiting people that are able to walk into the store. So they're doing like 30 people at a time type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So every time somebody comes out, one other person goes in and they just alternate. I mean, we've been doing that from the beginning, honestly, since it kind of like started the whole thing happening. We've been going to the grocery store once a week, but it's limited. You know, we have to stand in a line. We're like outside or something like that. So it's pretty trippy.
Yeah, I know. Was it the Republican governors for Ohio and Utah actually did a mask mandate as well? I think Ohio talked about possibly shutting down or having a curfew at 10 p.m. It was it was strange hearing the governor of Ohio saying how every person who's working has the right to reject service for a customer. Yeah, for not wearing the proper protective gear. And just hearing a Republican governor admit to that is crazy and nuts. It just took so long for them to accept this.
Well, what is it? We're in fucking November, dude, and then it started all in February, late February, early March. You know? Yeah. It's like, come on, dude. Like, how many people have to die for you to realize like this is a serious thing? This is a serious issue. It's not just affecting one type of demographic. It's affecting the whole world. You know? I think it was like 1.4 million that have died so far worldwide. You know, because of the cases or because of the severity of the the complexity of this. So you're just like, dude, how many people do you have to put out there? People have to like die for you to realize like this is something serious. This is something that should not be joked around with or played around with.
I think people still need to just have common sense, social distance, and wash your hands.
For sure.
Like, you can't be going out touching shit and eating with the same hands that you just touched all that shit with. Like, have common sense.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are limiting what you could eat now, or like what you could touch. Like when we go to the farmers market, we're not able to touch any of the produce anymore. There, you have to like point at it, and you're like, "Hey, can I have that one?" Or like, "I want this one," type of thing, right? And then they'll grab it for you, and they'll put it in their bag, but they have like gloves on, right? So that's how we've been kind of like protecting ourselves. But even then, like whenever we go out and we come back home or we go in the car, like we have hand sanitizer like ready type of thing, you know?
Well, how are you supposed to pick up the melon and tap it?
Hey, bro,
oh shit, sorry. Oh, that's why I'm getting shitty melons. But how are you supposed to tell, dude? Like the farmer puts it. Do they put it into a contraption and in the you gotta pull out a stethoscope and just knock it with like a spoon or something?
Yeah. Dude, funny stories. This black lady one time we were at like I don't know, I forgot where we were at, but it was like a random store. I think it was like food for less or Food Co or something like that. And we were just like, it was me and HO, and we were walking by, and like I was like, I kind of wanted to get one of the watermelons and stuff, so I was like looking around, and she just comes around like right next to me, and she's like, "Hey, can one of you guys help me pick up one of these watermelons?" And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, for sure." Like I thought she was like hurt or like, she couldn't pick it up for whatever reason. So I was like grabbing it for her. And she's like, "No, I want you to test it and see if it's good. Like you guys know how to do this." And I was just like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "What do you mean you guys? Like what the hell, lady?" Like, it was a trip, dude. I was just like, I don't know how to do that, but I played dumb. Like I was like, I don't know how to do that. I'm not gonna do that for you, lady, type of thing.
You know, watermelons are from Africa.
Serious?
What? I did not know that. Is it true?
I don't know. We got to fact check it.
Yeah, we'll factor it.
Oh my god,
No, I saw it.
I saw that.
I saw that at the when we went to the botanical gardens. It said the Spanish brought over different crops and stuff, and melons and watermelons in particular they brought from like northern Africa.
Crazy.
Random.
Wow.
I wouldn't doubt it. Dude, everything comes from Africa, bro.
Damn, that is a trip. I did not know that. I thought watermelons came from California. I don't know why.
Georgia.
Is it Georgia? Is it from Georgia?
From Georgia.
Perfect climate.
Yeah.
So does that
that's where remember Georgia kicked out all their Mexicans.
Oh yeah.
A while back. In the last couple of years, they had passed legislation to make it harder for illegal immigrants to like live and work there, and a bunch of them left, and then they had like millions of dollars of crops go to waste on the vines because they couldn't have any Mexicans to pick their crops.
Damn.
They tried to make prisoners do it. They tried to make people come out from the jails and do like forced like agriculture labor, and it didn't work out.
Damn.
They took our jobs.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
They didn't want those jobs.
Right. They took our jobs.
Well, that's what happened in 2016 and 17, I believe, right? I believe when Trump first became president, he did a hard immigration reform or there were fear of mass deportation with the whole ICE and the whole, was it Sanctuary City thing? I think was it 2016, 17 or 18?
It had to be 2016, yeah. 2016, 2017, yeah.
Yeah, so during that time, like, so basically a lot of illegal immigrants were too afraid to work the fields, and a lot of crops went bad. I remember hearing stories about in Santa Rosa or wine country where a lot of grapes went bad because there's nobody to pick them. This one farmer was offering a good health package with a 401k, paying $15 an hour to pick grapes, and nobody wanted to do it. And I remember hearing a story too about the Central Valley where a lot of Mexicans weren't showing up for work because they were also afraid of being deported.
Hey,
that's funny you say that too, because my mom and all my aunts and uncles worked those fields when they were like 8 years old, all the way up till high school.
Damn.
They were actually migrant farm laborers. All my aunts and uncles were born in different states, and then they settled here in California because there's always something to pick.
Hell yeah.
my actually randomly, I'm all, because I just want to throw this in there because Ramiro always gives me shit for not being Mexican, but my grandma and my grandpa, my mom's parents, they actually marched with Cesar Chavez from Delano to Sacramento back, and they were part of UFW back in the day.
How brown are they, Jerry?
They're real brown. Yeah.
I'm just giving you crap. I wouldn't doubt it, dude. I've been indoors a lot lately.
We need you to go to Home Depot, get one of those color boards and point. We need you to point in which brown.
Yeah, how brown, the brown meter. Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. No, I think it's very like, I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Like you got to create certain policies that allow, I guess, like illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants to come and work for a certain amount of time, like a visa, like how they were doing at one point where there was the Braceros, right? The Braceros Act back in the 80s and 70s and everything like that. Yep. So they allowed them to come temporarily, have a certain type of documentation, which didn't allow them to be prosecuted, but it allowed them enough time to stay, collect some money, and then head home, right? But now with what's going on the border is that they're militarizing the border, making it hard to come in and out. So, most people that immigrate in general, they want to go back home, especially if you're in a Latin American country, especially like Mexico. Mexico's so close, right? Most of the time, the Mexicans that come, they want to go back home. They don't want to stay in the U.S. because they got nobody here, right? Unless they have family and everything here, they could establish some type of life and everything like that. But those are the few type of thing, right? They're not, I mean, there's a lot of them. It's like half and half. Let's say it's like half and half. But there is a lot of people that can't get accustomed to the way of living here in the United States, and I think that most of them are willing to go back home. Like, but it's the cost, right? It's the danger of coming in and out of the border, because they have like it's like 10, 15 grand nowadays from what I heard, and then you have to pay people, right? Like, and these are pesos that you're paying them, or you're getting sponsored by a family member here in the United States, so it's not cheap, dude. And so that's why they come here. They need to make their money and pay the people that paid them for the cost, and then stay, maybe even to make extra for their family. So it's really tough. It's not an easy situation. Like you guys were mentioning, these people, like the farmers, like the big farmers, they want them to, for their labor, but they don't want to have them part of the system, as far as like give them some type of documentation, as far as like visas, licenses, things like that, where they're able to establish some type of life here. And I think that's where it becomes a very complicated issue, and it's out of my fucking pay grade. I don't know what to do there, right? But at the same time, it's like I acknowledge that it's not a black and white issue. It's like, okay, the system is preventing them from doing what they want to do, but then again, like, there's a lot of them that don't want to stay here for very long. They want to go back too.
I think one of the arguments against that is how people talk about how the money that is made working those jobs doesn't stay within the country, so it doesn't get circulated there, so it doesn't come back to the community. And
yeah, see, and then that's interesting. That's interesting too, because I hear that point all the time too. And then in my head, I'm just baffled by that, because you're worried about, the few $1,000s the struggling immigrants making and sending back to his family to help them have a better life, but you're not interested about, all these millions of dollars in Cayman bank accounts that get put into offshore tax shelters where, all these billionaires and millionaires don't have to pay shit, but we're going to sit here and criticize on, the downtrodden that are sending their hard-earned dollars back to benefit their families. But we're not going to say anything about the corporate greed and sheltering of, money that's not going to get taxed and never going to be in circulation.
Fuck yeah, that's the truth. That is honest truth. Dude, it's one of those things where you're prosecuting the people that can't defend themselves. You're assaulting the ones that are like, that have no voice, that can't, don't want to use their voice to protect themselves, right? Because they're like afraid of alienation, or afraid of discrimination, or even deportation, right? They don't want to stand up for themselves because they don't want to, like, they don't want to put themselves on that position or in that light.
They want to be on the DL.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want to be part of those Streetations.
Yeah, dude, they're trying to live in the shadows, dude. Yeah.
And they're probably paying more taxes on their money because their paychecks are getting taxed.
For sure.
Or if anything, if they're getting paid under the table, it's still the farm that's paying them, or the
farmer's still paying taxes.
Yeah, he's paying taxes. They're getting that stuff's getting taxed. That offshore sheltered money isn't getting taxed at all, and it's 800 times the value.
Even if these illegal immigrants need a social security number, they can walk down the street in some neighborhood and buy one. And, I'm just like, well, if they buy a social security number that's real, then that social security number is getting taxed. So either way, everybody's getting taxed,
Well, you have millions and millions of dollars coming in from state and local tax, right? And not only that, but they have to pay federal tax, especially if they're on pay stubs and everything like that. If everything's documented, they have to pay these wages or these taxes. Not only that, but they contribute to SSI. So again, SSI is only for those U.S. citizens that are already 65 or older that are able to collect that. So if you're not a citizen, you're never going to collect those funds. So in reality, there is they actually pay for these people that are on SSI today, right? So it's a trip, dude. Like, because SSI is just a fucking another issue. But yeah, they pay into that system that they'll never reap the benefits of.
We just gotta get them out though. Fuck them.
Yeah, I guess you know, we don't need them to pick our fruits. We don't need them to clean our houses or something.
We'll find some robots. Elon Musk got some robots coming to pick these fruits.
He got to have something.
Yeah, that's where I love seeing the like irony play out, like in Georgia and whatever year that was, where they just had lost millions. Like, oh, maybe we need to think about this, because they got white people to go out there and do it, and they didn't last more than a couple days. Some of them lasted, like, I think out of 500 people, like 42 lasted for like a week, and they still quit too. Right? These people are doing back-breaking labor that no one wants to do. No one's stealing your job. Go get some certifications and become skilled labor if you're afraid about, you know,
losing your job.
Jose coming over the border, you know, taking your job. Better yourself.
Yeah,
dude, for sure.
I know. I think Shannon Osborne said it on The View about. She made a good point. You know, like there are jobs that are available that Americans don't want, where these, you know, immigrants will do. Unfortunately, she used the word house cleaner or maid, and it just kind of flew up from there. But her mind was on the right path, you know, because there are jobs, man.
Yeah, but she's also an old British lady, so.
Kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
there's more jobs to be.
You know,
was it Karen?
Sharon. Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing the Hispanic community must be elated that President Trump lost, then, except for the Cubans in Florida.
In Florida, yeah, dude. A lot of people are very happy. Obviously, I mean, you got the ones. I mean, you got these dudes, the coconuts, right? That are basically just straight up. I don't know. I really don't understand how they get into these mindsets. But there is a lot of Latinos that actually came up. I think it was like, I read the numbers. It was like the last election, it was like 27% of Latinos voted for Trump, and then this time around it was like 32 or 33%. So it was actually an increase, right? So it was a trip. Like, I was just like, dude. And I talked with my classes about this actually one time, about why did they think so, right? But it was a bigger turnout in the Cuban community, and the whole, you know, communist socialist push from the Republican Party, and how they're trying to twist that on them. It's a trip. Yeah.
I don't know if there's any merit to this, but I heard that the reason why a lot of these Cubans voted for Trump was because they wanted to keep the tax low, because a lot of them own businesses, and they wanted to keep that money or send that money back to Cuba so they can live a better life. I don't know if there's any merit to it. I can't say, but there's always what's that saying, is that nobody hates immigrants more than legal immigrants.
No? Yeah. I mean, I could see how that would be, but I don't know. I don't personally think that a lot of people that I know that are immigrants, I don't think they are in that circle where they more of it's like, okay, that person's doing good, like good for them, you know, like kind of feeling like, oh, like this guy bettered himself. He started here and now he's here. So he's doing a lot better for himself compared to when, like, from somebody that barely came, right? Type of thing. At least that's how I've encountered most people.
The way I think about, you know, Mexican Americans that are voting for Trump or pro-Trump is, it's like cockroaches for raid, Mexicans for Trump. Like, what are you doing? Look what he's doing to your people. Look what he's doing at the border, and how you're supporting that. I have no idea.
But then they would say, these are my people. I'm an American citizen. How would you respond to that?
Yeah.
I am Mexican. I'm American.
Your ancestors came over here. Your ancestors came over here
Mexican.
Sometimes.
I'm American. I have a citizenship, not a green card.
I think it's the silliest thing. I think is that they forget who they are, right? They become masked of what they want to become instead of who they are. They forget exactly where they came from, what their parents struggled, their grandparents, great grandparents, whatever that is, right? But through the generations, they forget what is going on and how it started. But they don't realize, like, just a couple of generations ago, you were the one, your parents or your grandparents were the ones being, you know, discriminated against, and all you have to do is just ask, and I'm sure you'll find some stories. Like even the Mexicans that are like the pro-Trump guys, right? It's like the way I think about it sometimes, it's like, dude, you are basically the traitor, right? You're like a traitor in a sense, right? You like, it's like I mean, I was talking to Billy about this the other day, but I was like, dude, it's like, you know, Jesus was betrayed by his own people, right? Malcolm was betrayed by his own people. In part, like, what's the name? I don't know about what's his name. I was gonna say
Caesar.
Martin Luther King, right? But
Oh,
it wasn't. I don't think Martin MLK was betrayed by his own
That was
people.
the
I'm not.
government.
That
That
was
yeah.
the
was the
government, yeah,
government.
Mhm.
yeah. So I know Malcolm was betrayed, right? He was set up by his own folks and stuff. But dude, it's like, okay, you're gonna play. There's always gonna be haters. Like there's gonna be that player, that person that doesn't want this person to get better because they want to stay in a position of power, or like
Mhm.
a feeling of I'm better because I have a document or because I have a better job or etc. Right? And it comes into play, and I think it's just like, it's just silly. You're hating. It's like hating yourself. I hate
Mhm.
myself so much that I'm willing to betray myself, type of thing, right?
Betrayed the motherland.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
so then do you think it's a an assimilation thing where
yeah.
they're surrounded by a community where they feel like they need to be such a polar opposite of what that community hates, so it's better for them to assimilate by being
Or
those,
they
right?
could just be, you know, they could just be in those areas where it's Trump country, like, you
Mm.
know, where we're
Yeah, the
from.
environment. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
environment.
Yeah.
in Trump country, and you know their coworkers are Trumpers. Their, you know, in-laws or whatever Trumpers, and they're just pushed that way. Maybe they weren't into politics or whatever, but they're just riding for Trump because that's what everybody else is doing
Mhm.
around them, and they just don't want to be, you know, sore thumbs.
Like
For sure. I agree.
like a hive mind kind of sort of thing. Hive mind, collective thoughts, collective mind, zergs.
Yeah, I
I
think
could
they're
see
just like
business
Zergs.
owners. I could see business owners not wanting, you know, if they make a decent amount of money, Trump's tax plan is beneficial to that. But I mean, besides that, if you don't own a business and you're not making over $200,000 a year, I don't understand why.
Dude, most small businesses don't make a lot of money though, dude.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's a
I
lot
checked
of
some of the
write-offs.
numbers. Yeah, it's a lot of write-offs, and I've checked some of the numbers, and it's like I think they average from 60 to 80K, right? Like at
Mhm.
least here in the United or California. So I'm just like, if you're averaging there, why would you even worry about it? And you could write most of the stuff off as it is, right? You come out basically making, you're basically making like a little bit above minimum wage, right?
Mhm.
You're just like, dude, come on, like I don't know. It's not enough, I think, to sell out or to like basically join somebody that has been, you know, an array of different like ways to describe them, prejudice, you know, bigot, obviously, and xenophobic
White
and all these other
nationalists.
things. Why nationalists? Like I don't know. For me, it's like, okay, I understand. I'm on a different perspective, and like I come from, you know, being an immigrant myself. So it's just like, dude, how is this? I mean, I get it, but then I don't get it, right? You're just like, okay, but I mean,
Yeah,
there is a
it's
lot
not
of like-minded
fungible.
folks.
Well, dude,
Yeah.
so did small businesses really benefit from Trump's Trump's tax plans? Because I know a lot of middle class people who got kind of screwed over because Trump's new tax plan, even though he was it raised the minimum deduction, you couldn't take any additional deductions off. So a lot of people couldn't deduct more than 10 grand. So how does that affect small businesses? Do you guys know?
I don't know exactly how the tax plan. I know that when the first time that Trump came in office, he did do it right when they passed the tax plan. It made the taxes low for the first year or two. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember exactly, and then it skyrocketed for
It kept
everybody
going
on
up.
that second or third year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it was like, see, I told you that this was gonna happen, right? I was like, dude, if he passes that thing, this is gonna be horrible for me because I land in that bracket because I make so much, whatever, right? I don't even get to see it, but yeah. I make this certain amount. So you're just like, dude, my taxes went up. Like all this stuff went up. Like now I'm screwed. Now I don't get to take home enough money. And I knew if the Democratic would have won again, maybe it wouldn't be as bad. But I know because of that tax fine, it went up.
Well, it was low for the first year. It went up a little bit the second year, but then third and fourth year, it kind of just went up even more, right? Isn't that how it worked?
Yep.
Yeah. And the only people who really benefited were the extremely poor or the extremely rich, right?
Middle class got screwed on that one.
Middle class
sure.
did get screwed. Yeah, like I know a lot of middle class people got screwed. A lot of my friends who took losses in the stock market got screwed because they couldn't take any more deductions any more than 10K. But like I said, I don't know how this affects businesses because I don't own a business, nor have I talked to anybody who owns businesses.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that.
And that's an interesting thing too, because like in our notes that we were passing back and forth, we were talking about the middle class, and then it's just so apparent right now that it's like the destruction of the middle class. Like there is no more middle class. There's working poor, and there's rich, and then there's wealthy.
Oh, don't forget
I feel like there's no more. The middle class has been eroded.
Yeah, it's like
lower
class, poor, not so poor, rich.
Yeah, right. Basically, it says it was a major element of changes include reducing tax rates for businesses and individuals, increasing the standard deduction and family tax credit, eliminating personal exemption and making it less beneficial to itemize deductions, limiting deductions for state and local income taxes and property taxes. So it was a lot of limitations. So it limited the itemization, which is basically, you get to itemize everything when you tax, when you do your taxes. And it limited deductions for state and local income taxes and your property tax. So you couldn't even write that shit off.
So this also applied to businesses, not just individuals?
It said businesses includes reducing tax rates for businesses. So it reduced the taxes for businesses.
But they also reduced the deductions, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They reduced the benefit of doing the deductions, and they limited itemization.
Yeah.
So
my buddy who was a grad student during Trump's first year, he actually had to claim all of his loans as income. So he went from making 30K a year to like 60 or 70K, and he got taxed on all of that.
Hell yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. And yeah, he was screwed. That's what you get for an education, right?
Dude, no way, man. That's ridiculous. I can't even itemize some of my stuff now. Sometimes now I have to take the hit, right? Like last year I spent like 7K on school loan just for, tuition, and I could only deduct, or I could only itemize 2,500 of that. So I was only able to, get a little bit back, but even then it wasn't too much.
And I feel like a lot of this adds to the mythos of the Republican Party is there for the people to lower taxes and Democrats are there to raise taxes. And this kind of old-fashioned idea has been circling around. And I think that's what led to the destruction of the middle class. So a lot of lower middle class people probably voted. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not a poli-sci major, but maybe they voted for Trump because they believe that he will keep the taxes low for them, despite what he did behind the scenes. Because I mean, small business did get fucked especially during COVID.
COVID's pretty bad.
Like especially the whole CARES Act. The CARES Act was was there to help small businesses. I think was it 1.5, 1.8 trillion was meant for the CARES Act for businesses, but the majority of small businesses didn't even get them because
they didn't get anything.
Yeah, in order for you to get these loans, these forgivable loans, you have to get approved by banks. And some of them didn't get approved. The majority of people who did get approved were lenders who
major businesses.
Yeah, because they had a better credit score or they had a higher probability of repaying back the loans if they were to falter in the loans. So it's just sad because like these businesses got them. Was it Roof Steakhouse got it? That's the only one I can think of right now off the top of my head. And then,
well, I think it's interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But I think it's interesting how you're talking about the taxes and Republican and Democrat and how they differ, because what that is just old school Reaganomics, the trickle down theory that we taught,
that it doesn't work.
Fallacy. Even the guy that made the trickle down effect, the trickle down theory, the guy that invented Reaganomics said, yeah, this isn't a thing.
Doesn't work.
Like it doesn't work because it never trickles down. So the idea is that you're going to give tax breaks to the wealthy and corporations, and then eventually the workers will see the benefits of those tax breaks, like better wages, better working conditions, better equipment, better tools to do their jobs. But all that happens is that money just stays at the top with in the form of tens and $20 million bonuses for CEOs, and they're just feeding the monster that is the corporate greed. And that's why the middle class has been eroded, because that separation of actual viable financial system and then Reaganomics, which is just made up bullshit.
So it only really trickles up.
Yeah,
it trickles up. It trickles up. Yeah.
It never gets down to us. They don't care about us. They're not going to trickle down to us.
It's always us at the lower part, just trickling their balls. So
they don't care for social programs, dude. They don't want to do any social programs. They don't want to do, Medicare for all, right? Which is basically a big social program that we should have as the richest country in the world's history. How do we not have Medicare for all, right? Like,
universal healthcare.
Yeah, universal healthcare. Like, how is it that we don't have that? Every other industrialized country has that, and we don't have that? Like, that's ridiculous, right? That's where we're behind.
Because it's socialism.
Yeah, it is socialism, right? But in the case, if you think about economics, the sheer just perspective of economics, it's cheaper to run that type of program, as we've seen in other countries around the world, than it is the system that we have today.
If that were to happen, then what about all the people who went to school to become nurses and stuff? Wouldn't their pays get cut?
No, because then it'll be.
No, it's just a single payer system.
Yeah.
It just makes it to where the middleman is cut out, and their cost isn't, they're going to go up or down. It's just changing who's paying the cost.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't believe that, because I'm just repeating what people have told me for the counter argument about Medicare for all.
For sure.
It's just like it's hard, because a lot of people say, "Oh, that's a socialist program. Our taxes are going to go up." Even though when they did Bernie's tax plan, our taxes only went up by 1%, or we are still paying the same amount of taxes, or depending on what tax bracket you are.
It's just reallocating that where those taxes are going.
Yeah, like instead of our military or a wall that never got built, it's going to go towards public health care.
Yeah, but you're willing to put
$700 billion.
Yeah, you're willing to put $700 billion into the military, and you're willing to allocate those funds there, but you're not willing to save your lives that you supposedly care so much about, right? Like, I don't know. I don't understand that part. I think it's silly, but honestly, do people like to get Social Security? Right, they do, right? I'm imagining they do, but that's a socialist program. Do you like getting food stamps when you're not out of a job, or your unemployment? Do you like receiving those things? Because those are socialist programs. This is the part that you're like, I'm willing to accept some social programs, but I'm not willing to accept the ones that also benefit all of Americans, not just one or some of them.
Well,
so just a tip. Just a tip of social. Yeah, just a tip.
Just
just a little bit.
The little shroom goes in, and that's it.
It's funny because we've talked about it before, or it's come up in group chats and stuff, but it's it feels like the right, the Trumpers, the Trumpism, they would love to attack the single mom that is using her EBT card to buy a ice cream or candy bar for her kid, but they're not thinking about all that corporate welfare. $1 trillion Trump tax break. They want to, same thing like we were talking about earlier with immigration. Like, they're worried about where that money's going. oh, where is this going? Why are they feeding off these social programs? Well, you're worried about, Mary Jo buying her kid some food when behind you in the curtain over there, there's a guy, stashing away $20 million in corporate welfare. But we only talk about social welfare. We don't talk about, all the free shit that all the rich people get. We don't talk about GE getting $1 million tax credit.
Or people complained that food stamps recipients were spending their money on soda, candy, and steaks, right? They wanted to essentially micromanage what they can buy on food stamps. But they won't say anything about these fucking CEOs who got bailed out using that money. Instead of paying their employees, they use it to buy back their stocks and give themselves bonuses. Well, the 2008, and 2000, it happened again, dude, this year too.
Don't forget the private jets. The private jets go back and forth to the hearings.
Oh, right.
6 million, Obama did $700 billion worth of bailout for the auto industry, and then they still closed shop.
They did. It was an effort to protect jobs, but the money never trickled down. It just stayed at the top.
It's usually how it works, dude.
Yeah, like Toys R Us this year got flamed for firing all their employees and giving their CEOs bonuses. Same thing with Disney. Disney fired a lot of their employees, but still gave their shareholders money. I mean, that I didn't know too much of, but I know people were upset about it. And it just, there's no oversight about how this free money is spent. And obviously the conversation is not about who should be watching over it, but like, why are lower middle class just not seeing it? Why is the lower class? Do you think it's because they're not accepting this is happening, or do you think that they are blaming Mary Jo
lack of awareness,
or maybe because like what Mary Jo is doing is tangible to them. They can wrap their mind around it, because it affects their life. Exactly. They can put themselves in her place. Like, oh, if I was Mary Jo, I would close my legs and stop having kids, or get my tubes tied, or get an abortion. Get a job. Yeah, why don't you just get a job? But then when these CEOs get all these bailouts, they never say like, oh, I would have paid my employees,
Yeah, I think it's just different because when you see the person getting, the freaking food stamps and all that, right? It's easy to be like, well, they should be monitored and all this other stuff. But if the CEO or the corporate greed guy is out there doing exactly like, you don't know what he's doing with that money. He put it in his offshore account. He's buying stuff like cars, jets, all this other stuff. And you're just like, dude, you're monitoring the people that don't matter because those people have very little voice. And then they only get discriminated because, they're at the lower end. But I think the people at the bottom don't really say a whole lot is because they don't have the time or the resources to put this much effort to pay attention to this stuff unless you really care for it in some way, right? Like you take out a lot of your own time. But if you got kids and you got all this stuff, dude, you don't pay attention to stuff unless you really need to, right? I'm sure Joey doesn't pay attention to everything going on, but he does have a lot going on with his kids, right? And his wife. So I don't think it's easy unless you're like a really informed person or you really want to be informed. But for most people, especially if you're on the lower side of the education side, I don't think you're paying a whole lot of attention what the CEO of Apple. Yeah, because you're like, fuck, this doesn't affect me like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, well, this isn't part of my daily life. I need to take care of my kids type of thing. Yeah.
Well, do you think that sometimes these people who are shaming the lower class are more invested in that kind of actions because they can see a direct correlation?
Well, it takes light away from them too.
Yeah.
If you're constantly convicting somebody that's not it's not very doing the whole part of the harm, right? You're doing 80% of the harm, but you're pointing the finger at somebody else as doing the 20% of the harm. It takes all this other light off of you and it puts it on this person that maybe has a criminal record, that has 5, 6 kids living on welfare in the ghetto type of thing, right? But it's like, dude, you're doing they're smart about it. Don't get me wrong. They're playing the political side of it. And I think that's just the system, right? The political aspect of it.
Well, do you think that's the reason why, I was about to say Hitler, do you think that's the reason why Trump came in and just swooped these people off their feet?
I don't know, man. It's a tough, complex one on that one. I think where people are like naturally racist in a way, right? Like they discriminate naturally. I mean, we've all done some type of discrimination. You know, we come from Visalia, right? There's discrimination all around. So, you know, we base we're products of our environment at the end of the day, right? But it's not until you freaking go out of your own realm, you make friends that are different ethnicities or different cultures or anything like that, you get to see a light of maybe what you perceived as what part of the discrimination you grew up with or you viewed as part of the world wasn't maybe as correct as it was, right?
Yeah.
Visalia. Dude, there's a lot of discrimination in Visalia.
There's a hell of discrimination in Visalia.
Yeah.
And the discrimination in Visalia is not just like whites versus minorities, or it's also like other people of color versus each other, you know?
Yeah, Asians versus Mexicans. Yeah.
I my first experience with racism in Visalia was when these Mexican kids called me Chino as I was walking by their house. And I was like, what's a Chino? And they're like, oh, a Chinese. I was like, I'm not even Chinese. And I'm like 5 years old trying to comprehend what a Chinese person is, because I don't know what the fuck Chinese people are. Is it like chow mein, fried rice? You know, I make chow mein and fried rice. And you know, when I think when Trump came along, I started experiencing a little bit more racism or prejudice with white people, you know, because before it used to be like microaggressions where it's like some things here and there, but it was whatever. But after 2005 and on, it became like full blown on aggressions. Like one time a lady said to me, I'm glad you can speak English and welcome back to this country, and threw a menu at me because she was trying to ask a question and I didn't know what she was saying. You know, to her benefit, I was super hungover, so I couldn't answer her question anyways, you know.
Where was this at?
This was in San Francisco in 2015.
Wow.
But I've also experienced a bunch of other stuff where I've been called a chink or a gook in the middle of the street, and it's kind of happened more. In this year, I was called a zipperhead and a gook and a Chinese virus in the bathroom of 24-Hour Fitness in Koreatown. I think in February when the virus first happened. So, you know, there's been an explosion of racism.
Crazy.
You know, and that's the thing. I think with Trump as president, it kind of made things worse. The racists came out.
The racists came out in droves. They're always there. They're just, you know, secretly hiding in their basements. But as soon as Trump got office, it just emboldened them. They just started coming out and being blatant about it because their president's racist. So why can't they be racist too?
It gave them an avenue to explore a certain side of themselves that they couldn't when we had a black man as a president for 8 years.
Yeah, you know? They definitely were emboldened for sure. And they became very bold. They became very verbal about, you know, how they felt. Maybe they've always felt this way, right? I mean, you never know. But I think for them, he picked a part of people that have always probably existed, part of their lives, you know, in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, it's like maybe you could cut this part out and put the Dave Chappelle.
White power! America's at war with Al Qaeda, but we're still losing the war against Al Sharpton. Let's talk about Chinese people with their kung fu and all that silly chang chang chong talk. Open up your heart and let that hate out. Be afraid.
Hate.
Where you go, hey, you got hate in your heart, let it out. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, dude, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah. Ching, ching, patty whack. I can't understand you. Go back to your country.
Condoleezza Rice sounds like.
Yeah, dude.
Asked why he left his wife of 27 years. He said because
she was an inward lover. Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous. I think it's one of those things where you have to, you have to view it from a different perspective. Like it's one honestly, the United States was built like the majority was built on racism, right? Like the founding fathers discriminated against natives, discriminated against other Europeans when they were coming. So there was always discrimination coming from all aspects, right? So you have to always think about that part. And we didn't abolish slavery till just 60 years ago or whatnot. Or no, wait, how long was slavery abolished ago? My bad. I'm talking about Jim Crow. My bad.
Crow,
I was thinking about Jim Crow. I was thinking about Jim Crow.
I was like, I don't think there were cars in Roots, bro.
Yeah. Thinking about it's a recent thing, right?
Civil rights.
Yeah, civil rights.
Yeah. So the whole Jim Crow thing didn't get abolished so recently. So you have to think about it. It's still fresh, dude. Like it's still very recent in our time.
Well, women were only allowed to vote 80 years ago. That started 80 years ago, right? 1920s.
Yeah, 1920s.
Yeah, 1920s. So women weren't. Black people had 3/5 of a vote, where women had no votes.
Yeah, women has always had it tough for sure. They've always had it tough. They always had it tough, dude.
Hold on. Let's clarify that real quick. Let's rewind.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You want to get your wife in this suit?
Yeah.
A slave was counted as 3/5 of a person.
Yeah.
So a landowner votes counted more. It's not like a slave got to go vote.
Yeah.
They're counted as 3/5 of a person. Yes.
So were women counted as a person, or no, or just property?
No. Yeah, just it was property. Yeah, but it increased their standings.
They were better viewed in society.
Yeah, they weren't black.
They weren't black.
They weren't black. Yeah. What were we talking about?
The women's movement.
Women's movement. Yeah. So, and shockingly, shockingly, a lot of women did also vote for Trump.
Yeah, that was a shocker to me, honestly. Yeah. I don't.
Hey, man, maybe they wanted to be grabbed by their pussies, man.
Dude, that was so crazy. Like
that was wild, dude. When that shit came out,
you had this president who's been sued by multiple women, who's
26 sexual allegations,
who had a court case in Florida in 2016 where him and Jeffrey Epstein were accused of sexual molesting a 15 and 14-year-old girl, and
they did that shit.
If you read the court documents, it's fucking horrible, man. You read the court documents, and obviously that case got dropped because of a clerk error. It got moved to California. That got dropped too because of something else, and then it tried going through again in New York, but then eventually not the suspect, the
Trump's lawyers.
Basically, it got dropped 3 times, and you had this guy who committed all these acts with documents, him on camera saying that he wants to fuck his daughter, him on mic saying he grabbed girls by the pussy, and they still voted for him. They didn't believe he said it. They thought he was playing around. But even if you're playing around and all these women accuse you, it's like, do you really want this person as your president? But they still voted for him. I believe the majority of the women who did vote for him were huge. They were really involved with the religious sector.
So, it could have been a religious aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's their second coming. He's like the next best thing. He's like Jesus Christ on crack.
Evangelics or what?
Yeah, evangelicals eating him up, man. We gotta pray for President Trump. He's for us.
They took our jobs.
Dude, there is a funny interview with what's the guy, Jordan Keller, who interviewed this guy who was a priest or pastor or something.
Yeah, but he didn't do all that. Or
he didn't mean it.
Yeah.
He probably said, he was an adulterer 3 times over, broke his marital, bonds in extramarital affairs over and over and over again. And even his current wife, he cheated on with a porn star that he paid $150,000 to nut in, and for him to get spanked with a Time magazine with his face on it.
Is that what happened?
Real stand-up guy.
Wait, is that what happened?
Yeah, it's in court. Yeah, that's verifiable.
Let's go.
Because Michael Cohen tried to bring action against her and her lawyer, saying that they were making it up, and they pulled out, bank statements, and everything was put on blast.
Oh yeah, this is
exactly what happened.
This is the court case where was it Bill Barr or something? Bill Barr, Michael Barr, Mr. Barr.
Bill Barr is the AG. Michael.
Yeah, sorry.
Trump.
So I heard that Bill Barr tried to replace Trump with the DOJ, and then the judge was like, no, right? This is different. See, this is a different court case. Like, I'm getting so confused. It was the reporter who claimed that Trump sexually molested her, and then tried to defame her, and then so Bill Barr tried to replace or substitute Trump with the DOJ, but then a federal judge was like, no. And one or two accusations, I don't know, no evidence, maybe. But when all these women came out and accused him of doing a certain thing, like maybe he did it, And
26, bro. I mean, one of them has to be telling the truth, right?
I mean, he even said he wanted to fuck his daughter, dude. That was the crazy part.
Not including the cases that probably got dismissed or that never even got on the record, right? Because they took the payout or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dude, I honestly think he was hell involved with that Epstein, all the stuff that he was doing.
He wasn't on the flight log, so.
Oh, he wasn't?
He wasn't on the flight log, so he never did anything with him. According to, Trumpism. He wasn't on the flight logs, and it doesn't count. Because
how about if he was on his own plane, though, bro?
Yeah, he has his own plane. He has his own hotel.
No, he's not on his. He's not, Jeffrey Epstein's best friend that could get those girls delivered to, Trump Tower. That's out of the realm of possibility. That would never happen. He won't have to leave the state of New York for that to happen. Fucking idiots.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should go on Parler and ask people what they think about this.
What's this whole Parler thing?
Oh God.
Joe, you want to take this off?
So Parler is a safe space. Yeah, Parler is a safe space for Trumpers. It's a non-biased social network where basically you can say whatever the fuck you want. You just say just random shit. Talk about killing liberals, talk about all kinds of racist shit. And you need a passport or a driver's license to sign up. So it's, data collection up the ass. But it's basically where all the Trump supporters have ran off to because they can't handle that smoke on Facebook.
Yeah, dude. So in order for you to sign up for Parler, you need to put down your full name, a ID or passport, your phone number, and your email. Damn. You're a security question away from getting all your account hacked.
Basically.
Right? If there was ever a data leak, they are fucked.
Oh, anonymous coming soon.
Yeah, and the crazy
anonymous hack.
Yeah, and there are a lot of big names on Parler. Tito Ortiz, Devin Nunes?
Gross, Devin Nunes. Dude.
Wait, Sean Hannity is on it. A bunch of people from Fox are on it.
That's crazy. Tito Ortiz, yeah, dude, crazy stuff. That dude's straight up from Huntington Beach too.
Yeah.
Hella Mexicans on that side of town. So it's pretty wild that he's switching like that.
I don't know if he's doing it for the views or just for the followers, man. But like,
I don't know.
It's crazy.
That fool looks serious. That dude looks super serious. He looks hella serious. Yeah. He might be getting paid out though.
All the Trump supporters that I know are posting on Facebook about how they're going on Parler.
Did you guys see that meme? Did you guys see the TikTok about?
Wait, Joey, what'd you say?
Said it's gonna be hard to troll them now because they're gonna be on Parler. I'm not gonna have a Parler, so I can't troll them if they're not on Facebook anymore. So that makes me feel sad.
Troll, smoke.
Wait,
Smoke.
So what about TikTok?
No, did you guys see that TikTok about how they
I live
were
under a bridge.
yeah, where the freaking all the Trump supporters are like, oh, I'm leaving, I'm going to Canada, and then you go, and then it switches over to like a Canadian. He goes, well, actually we're full. You know, we don't want you guys here. And then he goes, I would check with the Brits though. And then he goes, it goes to a British guy. Well, actually, no, we're not taking anybody more, and we're not taking. I would ask the New Zealand people, and then he turns to the New Zealand guy, and they keep doing all that, right? Like, no, we don't want you, basically. It was a pretty good one.
Can you imagine that the only place they get accepted to is Africa, and the Africans turn them into slaves?
That'd be legit. I was like, that would be legit.
That would be ironic and funny. But yeah, so Parler, yeah, ever since Trump, you know, quote unquote, didn't lose the election, Parler has blown up. Was it wayyy? Was it Gab? And then there's another one, Rumble. Yeah, Rumble. Like Rumble's like their YouTube. wayyy is like their Facebook. Parler's like their Twitter. So all these conservative. Okay, so these websites, I don't think they were initially conservative, but they kind of became a conservative platform because they're an alternative to, you know, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all that stuff. Because these conservatives feels like they were being censored. They feel like their rights are being opposed, and they didn't have a safe space to say what they wanted to say. They were having their First Amendment taken away. So now,
no, I don't think it was the First Amendment being taken away.
Because of the fact checking.
Yeah,
because Facebook would fact check the bullshit that they would spew from Trump's propaganda. That's why.
Good thing they did that, honestly, because they were doing that on Twitter, and every time, because I follow Trump on Twitter, so every time he tweets something, he goes, "This thing may not be correct," or I forgot what the exact wording is, but basically it states that like he's not telling, like it's a false statement. This is a false statement, basically what it stamps it with.
Yeah, they never really removed anything. They just kind of flagged it. Just like, hey, this could be false information.
Yeah.
Like every time Trump posts about him winning the election or the voter fraud, Twitter flagged it. And anytime somebody reposts a video on Facebook will like, hey, are you sure you want to watch this? It could be fake, but you could still watch it. You know, they never really removed anything unless it was like a beheading or something. You know, something super random.
Right.
Dude, hey, whatever happened to hydroxychloroquine or whatever the fuck that was?
Hydroxychloroquine? Chloroquine?
I thought that was a cure, dude.
So I know that the government was pushing it because Trump owned stock in hydroxychloroquine, whatever company that makes it. But then after a couple of trials, nothing really went through. And then everybody on Facebook just stopped talking about it. Like it just didn't happen. You're just kind of like,
because it was fucking voodoo witchcraft, just like that My Pillow guy. Fuck Mike Pillow. Fucking you have a My Pillow. Fuck you too.
Dude, those memes are so funny. When Trump got COVID, they were like, "Give us a hydroxychloroquine."
He was on some experimental shit too.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you guys see the 130 Secret Service men that freaking
tested
personnel
positive?
that are
tested positive are in quarantine. Just to go back real quick. So, you know, Trump and Chris Christie got coronavirus. And, you know, I mean, they're old as shit. They should have died. And they shouldn't, like, I don't know. That's whatever on you. But they got it. And the only reason why they survived was because they did some experimental drugs.
Well, then you have the aspect where
it's crazy.
The only reason Trump's alive is because of you know, his socialized medicine. Because when he left the White House, where did he go? Oh, that's right. He went to a military hospital. Oh, that's right. That's socialized medicine. Oh man, he must be the devil. He must be a socialist now. Yeah, the socialized medicine doctors, you know, take care of him. He's a socialist.
Well,
he's a socialist, bro.
Well, a lot of people are justifying saying that, COVID must not be that bad if Trump survived at his age. So essentially what you need to survive COVID is a helicopter, some rich friends, experiments with drugs, and free healthcare.
Socialized medicine.
Socialized medicine, yeah.
Socialized medicine, yeah.
Yeah. He's basically a tank away from voting for Joe Jorgensen.
Basically.
Hey, whoa there. You better leave my beautiful brunette princess alone.
No worries, bro.
Hey.
We'll talk about JoJo later, all right? Or we'll talk about
won the election. She won the election for Biden, goddammit.
We'll talk about JoJo next time. I feel like we still have so much to cover with the whole post-election feelings because, the election is still going on technically, right? Because of the court cases.
Today, right? Today was the last day. But yeah, there is still pending cases, yeah. But a lot of them got shut down.
There's cases that haven't got tossed out yet, but the majority of the cases are.
Well, okay, so I believe that Arizona and Arizona and Pennsylvania, they haven't gotten tossed out yet, but the lawyers representing them bailed. They all pulled out.
Yeah.
And
unwinnable.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where they don't want to lose their, they don't want to lose their license to practice law because they're, saying that the DNC committed fraud. They won't even say the word fraud.
Yeah, I heard that
in the courtroom.
Yeah, I heard that because the Trump campaign couldn't provide any substantial proof of fraud, the lawyers did not say fraud. I don't know what the wording was, but they just avoided saying fraud.
No, they said inconsistencies or things that needed to be reviewed or
violations,
whatever. And then, on multiple occasions, the judges were like, "So you're saying fraud?" And they were like, "No, we're not saying fraud."
We didn't say it. You said it,
but it wasn't.
Did you say it?
Yeah, you just said fraud right now. I didn't say that.
Like, yeah.
Well, you can't blame them. They want to get paid. They're just trying to get paid.
Well, no, the lawyers in Arizona pulled out. The lawyers in Pennsylvania pulled out. So I think the only one that's in is the girl in Michigan who is a conspiracy theorist lawyer, right? Was it Michigan or Pennsylvania? I don't know. They still have one lawyer who didn't pull out, but that's because she's a hardcore Trump supporter. And it also another thing to add to the story is that the Trump campaign is now asking for money as well to fundraise for all of this stuff that's going on.
Dude, they deserve it, bro. They need more money to be funded, and then they take the money from the veterans and then put it back in, like Donald Trump Jr.
The crazy part, the thing that just, I don't know, the thing I can't wrap my head around is how people are so willing to support this guy who's supposed to be the richest businessman who is now asking people for money for his campaign. And I don't know if you guys looked at the link I sent you, but in the fine print for his donation spiel or whatever, they're saying that I think 50% of that money is going to go towards paying back a lot of Trump's debt.
50% of all those contributions that people are sending his way right now are going to pay the outstanding debt that the Trump campaign still owes all the cities that he rallied in. So he was going around promising, like he's done in his business career his whole life, going around racking up debt that he was promising to repay and then couldn't repay. So now he's trying to weasel his way out of it like a little bitch that he is.
Dude, he's a fucking con artist, man. Like that, he's a legit con artist.
He's like the highest level tier con artist ever.
Yeah, seriously, like at least the one that we get to see and has like a light to him type of thing.
He's like, now you see me. He's like, now you see me type of shit.
Yeah,
trip, bro.
Mark Ruffalo from Now You See Me.
I mean, the guy's he's pretty savvy at it, though. I mean, you got to give him that. He's actually pretty good at. He's pretty good at what the conning.
Yeah, the art of the con, dude.
Yeah.
And he even stole that book.
The book that he didn't write.
Yeah, he stole that book
too. The art of the book that he didn't write. No, he didn't steal it. He had a ghost writer write it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, he stole the book.
He stole that book.
No, someone else.
Yeah, he's not that smart to be writing stuff.
I mean, have you seen the way he talked?
Yeah.
Can't even fucking tweet.
He could barely even put
Can't
some
even
sentences
tweet
together.
without fucking up.
Yeah.
Didn't they troll him on a couple tweets not too long ago, where he misspelled or something?
Hey, but Biden can read that. Biden can read that teleprompter real good though.
He's pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good, real good at reading that teleprompter.
Dude, I think we all know. Well, at least people that are kind of keep up with it, like us three, I think we all know Biden's not the answer, right? Like Biden's not gonna. He's not gonna solve the issues. He's not gonna be on the progressive side of things, right?
He's a moderate. He's a moderate Democrat.
Yeah, dude, he's a middle guy for sure.
But the thing is with him is now, which my girl AOC, is stirring some shit, causing some noise in the Democratic Party, as she should, because they're basically trying to say that the liberals were the reason that they lost the seats they lost, but everyone that lost the seat that was in the Democratic Party, they did not endorse Medicare for all. They did not endorse the Green New Deal. They did not endorse any of the liberal legislation that the left side of the DNC is proponents of, and so they lost their seats to Republicans because they were moderate Democrats. So now it's up to they always talk about in politics having a big tent, right? So having a big tent means that you have a lot of people that are included in your demographic, as far as demographics, as far as socioeconomic status, as far as race, creed, sexual orientation, whatever. So the tent of the DNC right now on the left, the tent has gotten way too big. There's way too many. You can't make everyone happy, and eventually the leftists they will pull away. But right now, AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Katie Porter, Tlaib, all of them. Their job now. Yes, exactly. Their job now is to try to put as much pressure on Biden and Harris to get the legislation that the people want done, because overwhelmingly the majority of the people want those leftist policies, those Medicare for all, Green New Deal,
Well, the weird thing is, go ahead, my bad, dude.
Oh yeah, but right now it's just up to them to try to push Biden that way, because Biden, like we were talking about, he is a kind of give and take guy, and if they put enough pressure on him, he will negotiate with them.
It's a funny thing you bring that up, honestly, because I think for a lot of young progressives like around the country, it's more of we want these progressive policies in place and we're trying to support these progressive politicians, but also you have a lot of the DNC fighting back and not giving them the opportunity. Like we saw Bernie Sanders not get the nomination twice, dude. Yeah, so that was a ridiculous thing to me, because I felt like Bernie Sanders, he really associated with the times, right, with the progressive side of things, and not everybody's progressive, I understand that, and then there's a lot of conservatives still, but I feel like there's a lot of money out there, and you have so much money just spilling out of everywhere, like as far as like the government getting so much money. It's like, dude, you gotta have some social programs to put people back to work, get them into trainings, get them, if you do this will contribute back to society in the form of tax, right? If you and I get a better position, we're going to pay higher taxes because we get into higher brackets. So at the same time, it's like, why wouldn't you want to empower your citizens, right? As far as giving them, we all know that healthcare gives us all longer lives. We pay longer taxes, we pay less in medical costs, but then again, who's behind the medical field, right? Like who's giving the money, and who are we giving the money to in reality, right?
Yeah, well,
pharmaceutical companies.
For sure.
Yeah, maybe this stems from the fear of educating the masses. So when it's easier to control somebody who's uneducated than it is to control somebody who isn't.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
Look at the
to
Trump
like
supporters.
the green, exactly. The Green New Deal is called the Green New Deal for a reason. It's the Green Deal. The New Deal already happened under Roosevelt. Tennessee Valley Authority, all these other work related programs that helped lift us out of the Great Depression. And you can bet your bottom dollar we've been in the Great Recession. We've lived through a recession where our economic future is not guaranteed. There could be, with the deregulation of Trump wanting to reverse everything Obama ever did.
The Paris Agreement.
That included
oh man.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Climate change, but also in the banking sector, regulations that were put there to help prevent like the 2008 housing bubble happening over again. And then Trump just said, nah, we don't need any of these regulations. Fuck them. Yeah, Obama did it. It's the devil.
Dude, freaking
just undid everything.
Trump is the biggest troll on Obama. It's ridiculous. He trolls the hell out of him. He trolls everything. Every policy he ever did was ridiculous. He's like, yeah, well, this is not going to work. We're going to just trash it and make it our own type of thing, right? It's true, dude.
You know what's kind of hypocritical after the whole election thing, right? A lot of people say, like, I think it's appalling that people voted for Biden because they just don't like Trump. Like, they didn't even read his policies. I was like, okay, but then aren't you the same person who said I'm voting for Trump because I like how he's an asshole? You know,
I like how
he's
a businessman.
I was like, you're not basing your vote on any facts. You're just like, oh, he's a troll. I love him. You know,
that's my favorite is when they say I voted for him because he's a businessman.
Oh God, it's the worst.
Please look at his business record. He's bankrupt like 20 companies. It's fucking the worst businessman ever.
Not only that, but Trump University went bankrupt.
Trump University.
Did you hear about that? Right?
Dude, his Trump University went bankrupt years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, he couldn't even run a school.
Lost the casino. A casino. They literally give you their money, and he couldn't fucking do it. Like, it's rigged. The casino's rigged, so you don't have to. What?
Yeah, so you don't win enough, right?
Yeah.
Unless they pulled out Ocean's 11 on him on that.
And he killed the USFTL. God damn it,
dude! And he blows all this smoke about China, but Trump has so much involvement with China. He borrows money from China. He has a bank account in China, which he withdrew. Was it like 15 million from?
15.
Trump personally withdrew 15 million from. Right.
He got 17 million originally.
Oh, he got
17 million, withdrew 15 for his own personal use, and he left the 2 million there to whatever, right? To do whatever with, basically. But yeah, he withdrew that 15 million, dude. He pocketed that 15 million.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he paid taxes in China. He paid taxes in, I think he also paid taxes in Russia too, right?
Yeah, he pays in more taxes in other countries than here.
Mm-hmm. And what else happened? He had a bunch of business dealings with Moscow for the Moscow Trump Tower that never got built. But let's talk about Joe Biden then, I guess. I mean, Hunter Biden.
Biden.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Hunter Biden did it.
It's crazy, bro.
And this is all public information too. And this is the crazy part, man. It's
the mind-blowing part where you don't even understand how to, like, you're trying to talk facts to a Trumper, and a Trumper is just gonna be like, what? Like, dude, you don't see Hunter? Like,
no,
like,
dude, my favorite is when they just change the topic.
The subject. Yeah.
It's my favorite. I always go, well, I will look into that, but what we're talking about, what you posted was about this, and we're talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to talk about saving the children? Oh, you a monster? That's a different topic for a different time. But it just, it's
You know how you save the children?
You don't touch the children?
No, you castrate the pedophiles.
I think there should be
Somebody touches my kids, they're gonna fucking die.
Yeah,
they should definitely get a hefty more of a hefty penalty. As far as like being monitored more. I don't know what it is, dude. I don't have the answer.
Castrated. They need to be chemically castrated.
Damn, dude, you're Hitler.
Damn.
You're going to Hitler extents.
It's what it is, man.
Well, I think we can all agree.
I agree on that.
We can all agree here that touching kids is wrong. Let's just say that touching kids is wrong. But we voted for a guy who touched kids, by the way. So.
Oh, but he was never prosecuted. He was never convicted.
He was accused. He was accused.
Go look at that. Go look at that meme I posted where it was you can't magically make all the pedophiles disappear, and a guy with a shotgun going, oh, bam.
What was the meme? It was like, we should get all the illegal immigrants, fight the pedophiles for their citizenship. So it's like Alien versus Predator. I was like, what?
Idiots.
But
that's a pretty good one, though.
Yeah. But still, like all the shit that went down, Predator, aliens, immigrants, Trump presidency. Is my thing fucked up?
No, I could hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, I went a little ham and then I karate chopped the wire and it kind of fucked it up. But anyways, so yeah, even with Trump in or out of office, we don't know what's gonna happen yet. Do you guys think it's gonna go away? Do you guys think that people are now gonna be like, okay, well, it happened, so?
Dude, our history repeats itself, man. So more than likely, I think, down the road, something's going to happen. They're going to go to the shadows for now, right? They're going to be like, well, we can't be relevant right now, but we'll like sit back, watch things, and come back at another precise moment in time, like the Trump situation. And it'll repeat itself in some shape or form, right? At least that's my opinion. I feel like that will happen. It's just like, we'll forget about it in a couple of years and not even think about it, and bam, get you,
yeah.
Again. So,
yeah. Well, that Fox News anchor, she said that if Trump doesn't win or he doesn't run again in 2024, then they're going to wait for somebody else to come along to help him out or carry his same ideas.
Dude, is it me, or does Pence just look hella funny? Like, he looks hella weird.
He looks gay.
He looks alien. Like, I'm just like, whoa.
Oh, I got some information.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mike Pence is fucking nobody, right? Mm-hmm. And he fucking, in his early career, political ambitions he sucked lots of cock. So he would just, every time he would run for an office, he would lose, and he was getting the shit kicked out of him, right? Like, I think he ran like 4 times or 5 times, something like that, with getting like no, like bad polling. And then the Walmart fuckers, the Cox brothers or whatever. Yeah, they stepped in and they made him a state senator for the state assembly in Ohio. And they backed his campaign. They got him going, and they won that campaign they first helped him with. And then 4 years later, he was the governor of Ohio.
Indiana.
Indiana, wherever the fuck, Midwest.
Some Midwest side.
But yeah, fucking wherever the shit he was. But yeah, after 4 years of after years and years, like a decade of being a nobody piss on, all of a sudden he's a governor in 4 years after being, so he's a hand-woven puppet of, big corporations that is literally just there as a shell of a person to just do whatever the fuck they wanted to do.
And religion. I think he's a big a religious guy.
Oh yeah. He calls his wife mother. He calls his wife mother. He can't be left in a room alone with another woman unless his wife's with him. So his wife has to be there sitting in on, like international meetings with the president of Germany, shit like that. His wife has to be there because he might fuck the president of Germany.
No, dude, the president of Germany is going to fuck him. Have you seen her?
She's
she's a badass, dude.
She's
Marco. Her name's Marco, right?
I love it because over there, they are not fucking like special. Like she's the president of Germany, but she like goes to the grocery store and like goes and picks out her own groceries. Like,
is she the president or prime minister?
Prime minister, I think.
Prime minister, right?
Yeah, I don't think they do the presidency like that I think they do like the whole British thing where the prime minister holds the highest office in the nation type of thing.
She's in charge. She's in charge.
Yeah, she's the in charge lady. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't like. She lives in her house. She doesn't get paid like a crazy amount of money. Like it's way different over there.
Well, technically, the president doesn't even get paid a lot of money either. A baseball player makes more money than the president.
I think he makes $250, no?
$250.
The president makes $400,000. The president makes $400,000, I think. And that's my favorite. That's my favorite thing that the Trumpers use is, well, he donates his salary.
Oh yeah,
he donates his salary because he passed $1 trillion tax fucking loophole to make him and his buddy millions and millions of dollars. He's not caring. He's dangling that $400,000 in front of you like a freaking horse and a carrot. Oh, come look what I did.
Dude, he just made 15 million off of one company.
Yeah.
That's more than enough, right?
Well, he also hosted a lot of those.
Yeah, but
I was like, he also hosted at his place. Yeah.
He funneled money into his corporations or his businesses.
The one that
Mar-a-Lago, different Trump hotels hosting all the different foreign dignitaries and stuff.
Well, that's why he wanted what's her name? His wife. I don't even know her name anymore.
Melania.
Melania.
His wife.
Basically, right? Oh. Melania. So he wanted Melania to stay at Trump Tower for that reason. But you know how people were like, F that, and then there was a bunch of protests at Trump Tower for like, I don't know, so long, and they were like demanding that she go back to the White House, so not hundreds and thousands of dollars were being donated basically to Trump Tower because of the Secret Service day. That's why they were like up in rage about that, because of, you know, they were basically funneling money on purpose in that shape
the whole time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's why he kept going golfing the whole time.
Yeah, that time it was just blatant.
Yeah.
But,
tax dollar money.
But it's okay, man. It's okay because he's our president. He can do whatever he wants.
And he's a savvy businessman.
Yeah. What was the thing that people always said, like, oh, he's rich, he can do whatever he wants, his money. I'm like, well, why do you care? You're broke, you're poor.
It's like all the people that would say that that Biden tax is gonna affect them, the 400K Biden tax. You're like, dude, you make 30K, relax. You know, like.
No, what's the meme? It was like, oh, you guys don't understand economics, because if these companies get charged 400K, then it's gonna trickle down. I'm like,
if your ceiling looks like this, you don't need to be worried about Biden's tax.
Right.
You know, it's even with the tax plan or higher minimum wage, the thing is like, companies still downsize. They still fired people because of automation. Automation made it so they don't need humans. McDonald's did automation. You know, there's only 1 or 2 people working in the front, and then everybody else works in the back in the kitchen, and the robots are there to take your order. And you know, people are still losing jobs. People are still paying more because of taxes, and I just don't get it, man.
It's just they don't understand how that works. I mean, most Trump supporters are not educated in that sense, right? Most of them have a high school education. They don't receive college degrees, right? A lot of the males, at least. And then he taps into a different side of male, like, I guess the male mentality, which is machismo, right? The machismo aspect of it, where it's like, okay, you're the man, you have to dominate. You know, women are second class, basically, like they come second to men. So he tapped into that aspect of, you know, male, whatever, society or mentality. So it's like, dude, but he was smart about it. I mean, you know, that's why it was more of a Latino turnout for him. There was more white males that voted for him. So it kind of ties hand in hand, to be honest. But yeah, the less educated always are gonna vote for the people that I have no idea how he does it, but he did it.
I think that if somebody were to tell me like I voted for Trump because I have $1 million or I make over 500K and I'm trying to protect my money, I'm like, okay, I get
That's
it.
reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, reasonable. Or if somebody were to go like I voted for Trump because I'm a racist, I'm like, okay, you have a valid choice, you know.
Yeah.
But if another person in Brasilia who is on unemployment on WIC, live in Section 8 housing, receives any kind of like Medicare, whatever, tells me they voted for Trump because he's gonna make the country better, I'm like, you're the reason why the taxes are going up because we're paying for your house.
We're paying for your housing, your food.
Yeah, America
your
is supposed
kids'
to.
Food.
We're supposed to hear America is supposed to be your helping hand, not the baby daddy. All right.
Well, that's the best part is the majority of EBT recipients are white Southerners.
It's a ridiculous amount, yeah. That the white demographic does get a lot of social programs themselves, and
They're poor and disenfranchised, but still, yeah.
And they're the ones that they took our jobs.
Yep.
They took our jobs, but I think it has to do a lot with education, not having maybe vocational training or just like any type of higher up training to get a better job. So they prey on these individuals because they can't get anything better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always my favorite though because I see white people bitch about social programs on Facebook or whatever, and it's like you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about because the majority of the people that are on these social programs you're complaining about aren't black, they're white. So what the fuck are you talking about? You're talking straight nonsense out of your asshole.
Yeah.
Man, fucking even Trump's on the social program. He got the free healthcare. He got the bailout money. He got his EDD.
Right. Immunity, bro. You got immunity too. Not to mention that.
Him, Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump, the other Trumps, I don't know. They all got money. They all got stimulus money from the CARES Act.
Yeah, they got me. Well, it is what it is. Like at this point, it's like now we have to move away from that. We have to get into the healing process, I guess you could say, or the after effect of it. I mean, it's gonna linger around for a couple of years though, for sure. And then for us now, it's more like how do we get a party that represents the people, right? Like the whole aspect of the I feel like the freaking Democratic Party has become so weak, dude. Like they become completely not for the people. It's like supposed to be for the working class, the middle class, but they don't represent us the way that we want to be represented, or they don't value the same things we value. And I think that's why we're shifting away from the Democratic Party. And you see some people,
the corporate Democrats,
yeah,
Nancy
for sure.
Pelosi's and Chuck Schumer's.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's like we're in, we only have a two-party system in the United States. So it's like, do we go with this side where it's like they expect my vote, but they give me nothing? Or do you get this dude that says he might give me a tax break or whatever else he might be promising me, right? So it's like, okay, that BS is done. Like, let's move away from that. I understand that, the presidency is done and we're ready for something new, but it's like, are we going to get something new from the Biden-Harris administration? Or are we just going to go back to promises that are not filled and they repeat whatever, that the Democratic Party has been doing and basically not standing up for the middle class, not providing what we need as far as, Medicare for all. So it's like, okay, where are we going? Because we need to be going somewhere. If not, this Trump thing will happen again.
Yeah, man. Where are we going? Where'd you go? Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, where we should be going is the People's Progressive Party, which is the left caucus, basically, of the DNC, which would be, the main idea behind the People's Progressive Party would be that the midterms 2 years from now, that it would have to be full blown like People's Progressive Party candidates are going to have to win seats, and that's the only way that we're going to be able to get a true third party involved, because the leftist Democrats are ready to pull away. AOC, all those people, Bernie, after being fucked over multiple times, they're ready to bail on the DNC. And the DNC is disenfranchising them and basically pushing them off to the side, acting like it's their fault they lost seats, acting like it's their fault for their liberal, policies. And that's what the people want.
I don't think it's liberal policies if you have other countries already doing these things, right? But those countries are also super benefiting from these programs. Like, let's put it on just sheer like happiness, right? You go to a country like Denmark that has literally the happiest people on earth, right? They're considered the happiest, but it's because they have Medicare for all. They have a guaranteed 3 weeks off of work, right? They have a flexible schedule as far as like, you having time for your kids, having a good work-life balance also is included in these type of
They
things. So
take up to a year off.
yeah, and then you also get the maternal leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you have to have, I could get it that you have to work hard, right? Like everybody wants to work hard for what they want, right? Like we understand that part. Like you want it, go get it type of thing. But at the same time, it's like, okay, dude, once I have it, can I fucking enjoy it? Am I able to enjoy it? Am I able to not worry about my health? Because, I'm one health bill away from going broke and then losing my house, losing my wife, lose whatever, right? Like these things come into perspective and you're just like, come on, man, like there has to be a solution. And if the Democratic Party is not going to give us that, you're like, we have to get another party involved or some other aspect we're able to get some of the policies that we want, right? As far as the progressives coming along.
That's where I think that Obama fucking screwed the pooch. Like Obama, when he first won, right? He had a chance to just slam legislation down the pipe. When Obama first won the presidency, we had the Senate and the House and the presidency. And he wanted to hold hands and let's, work with the other side of the aisle and all this bullshit. And as soon as the Senate turned Republican on him, what happened? Fucking locked that shit in.
Yep.
And Obama had a short time, that 2-year span when he first got elected. And if he wanted to, he could have made it to where it would have been impossible for Trump to overturn all the shit he did in 8 years. But he didn't do it because he's used to that party politics bullshit. And we need people that are for us and are down for the cause and are going to ride for us, because Biden and Harris aren't going to do it. They're corporate. So. They're corporate. They're corporate lobbyists.
Yeah.
They're paid and bought for by corporate interests. They're not going to make any substantial change.
Yeah.
So where did this leave the people who supported Trump then? Like, what about these people? Do we just leave them dry? Do we try to invite them into the leftist party? How do you convince bridge this connection to the people who supported this
my
guy?
best idea for Trump supporters, especially in California, is they need to get Devin Nunes to run for governor.
Fudge, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, if Devin Nunes runs for governor, even if he runs, if he gets it, then the Republicans lose their most highest powered seat on the House Intel Committee. Devin Nunes is the guy who's the chairman of the House Intel Committee. So if we can get the Republicans to try to put up a good guy like Nunes in California and draw him away from that seat, you lose all that seniority in the House. But Republicans love him. They love him, and they would run him. And then, they hate Newsom. Everybody hates Newsom. I fucking hate Newsom. But that's a way where we can, snake him a little bit, sneaky snake move.
And do you think that having Devin Nunes as the governor will ensure Trump supporters to come to your side, or to see the point of view for AOC, or
in the middle ground?
Well, no, that doesn't really matter. That's just whoever's governor doesn't really fucking matter. But that takes him away from the House, and he's
The
a
control.
powerful House controller. Exactly.
I honestly don't think. I think there's a lot to dissect about Trump supporters in the way that they think. You know, maybe I don't fully understand it. I don't know. I don't know how to like grasp it, but I think it's very complex. Like they're either, you know, something mentally is going on where they're not maybe fully there. I don't know. I mean, you got the intelligent ones, right? The ones that maybe are more reasonable. But I think it's there's a lot that are like, if you're not for Trump, you're against Trump, and there's no middle ground to that type of thing, right? Or if you don't view what I view, you're against me, and they're not willing to meet you halfway, and that's where the democracy dies, right? Where you're not willing to at least listen or willing to at least come to terms, like just compromise, right? Like democracy is about compromising. So you have to compromise to do anything or to even come to a middle fucking ground. Well, you're never going to do that if one person is like, you're with me or against me. You know, and that's on both sides of the parties. Like that's on all aspects. That's on Democratic, that's on the liberals and everything. It doesn't matter. We have to be able to, you know, talk, and we have to be able to come to terms, because at the end of the day, it's country over parties. So it's like, dude, you want the country to move forward, or do you want the country to be like we're living in the 1950s and shit? You know, like, come on.
I don't know, dude. I'm kind of down for that whole idea. Someone proposed, and I heard there was like this idea going around that all the Trump supporters and the Republicans just go to one side of the country, and then all the liberals go to the other side of the country. And then, you know, I told them if the liberals get the West Coast, I'm down for this. I don't have to move. We get Texas, you know, we get Oregon, Washington, we get like Montana, the Dakotas.
So
cool.
You're talking about a giant Jim Crow law.
Basically.
Yeah, no. So you just
you were all gonna
like
be separate but equal.
Yeah, so there'd be a 5-year span where you move depending, you know, if all the Republicans they like the right so much they can go fuck off on the East Coast. And then so there'd be a 5-year span where all the liberals from the East Coast and all the conservatives from the West Coast would swap places. And then after 5 years, you just put a border, like a 5-mile fucking no man's land down the middle of the country. And then each side just secures their border however they feel best suited.
You high?
Yeah.
I am high, but that is an idea that's going around out there. But yeah.
Well, we already kind of have something like that, like on the edges of the United States. It's already all mainly liberals, right? And then in the center is where, you know, the conservative, like, that's where they're all at, basically. So
if I didn't have to move, I'd be down for that. We'll run our country our way. You guys run the other country, fucking like Handmaid's Tale or whatever the fuck.
You're essentially talking about the Civil War, bro. So you're talking about creating but it says north and south. We're going east and west.
Yeah,
with terms, just so like preconditioned terms.
Don't include us in your damn policies.
We're not affiliated with this. I don't know.
International theorist.
No, I'm talking about like if the country was to divide, right? And then everybody don't involve us in your liberal ideas, or don't involve us in your conservative ideas. We're a separate entity within the entity, like, you know.
Fuck them. They can go fuck off on the East Coast. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's too extreme, but it is I think that's where we have to talk. We have to come to terms. We have to negotiate or just freaking compromise, dude. We have to. It's just how democracy works.
I mean, we're gonna have to reach an olive branch pretty soon anyways, right?
Yeah, we don't have to do the whole reach around thing, you know, but it's just like you have to work with each other, right? You know, meet each other somewhat 50-50 or like 70-25 or something here and there, right?
Yeah, We have to be face to face, not reaching around.
Yeah. There you go. I don't know. It's a trip.
Yeah. It
That
just
post earlier still got me, dude. I love it. Fucking all these snowflakes in one place must be a snowstorm.
oh yeah, the safe
Freaking
space.
guy.
Think about 100, all those 114 people get that same notification.
Oh man, I gotta post that video clip that Trevor Noah did where he talked about all the GOPs or the Republican news media outlet who called the Democrats snowflakes for crying foul for the 2018 midterm elections. And now the things have turned, man.
How do you get a false election or ballot, right? Like I could understand maybe some fall through the cracks, but it's like, how are you gonna blame the ballot system when the ballot system has been in place for God knows how long, right? Maybe more than a few decades for sure. So it's just like, what's going on, dude? Like, how are you blaming a system
The
as
Dominion voting machines.
yeah? Holy crap!
You know the crazy thing is there were evidence of voter fraud, but for Trump. All the voter fraud stuff was people trying to get Trump back in or reelected.
Oh, you know, California with those fake GOP drop boxes.
Yep.
The GOP made fake drop boxes so people were wasting their ballots.
In Clovis?
Yeah. People were also lighting fucking drop boxes on fire in SoCal.
In liberal counties.
In Pennsylvania, a post worker was charged for delaying mail or ballots. I'll put it on screen, but he's from Pennsylvania. In Philly, some guy tried to register his dead mom, and he was a registered Republican. Trump sent out an email trying to campaign for people to send in mail-in ballots who didn't vote, so hopefully they'll get counted with the overseas ballots. And I'm just like, come on, dude, this is all evidence going the other way of mail-in fraud, you know?
It's the victimization, dude.
Well, you know, it's funny because they want to call fraud, but then weren't they like court ordered to stop dismantling the U.S. Postal Service like a couple months ago?
Yeah, they tried to take it down.
Right?
They were defunding,
yeah.
The most blatant form of fraud. Like you're trying to take out the whole USPS, bro. What the fuck do you mean?
Oh, dude, I love that meme, that Game of Thrones meme, where he's like, "I want him to know it was me," and it was a postal service worker. Oh man!
Tell Donald it was me.
Tell Donald it was me.
The chick from High Garden or whatever.
Yeah, I don't watch Game of Thrones, but
the Tyrells.
Tyrell Williams. It's
tell Cersei I did it.
Dude, fucker, that guy, man. And they try to blow up a couple of voting centers, counting centers.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. There was two armed individuals.
Minnesota, didn't they try to wasn't there a plot thwarted they were trying to
Michigan. They were trying to kidnap the governor.
Kidnap the governor.
Yeah, fucking idiots.
Crazy, brother.
Philly was getting death threats at the counting centers.
In Nevada or Arizona, right? They had they surrounded the counting convention where they were counting it, and then they kept.
Dude, I was so confused on what was going on because I was watching the news. In the East Coast, they were like, "Stop the count." In Arizona, they were like, "Count all the votes."
Keep counting.
I was like, "Where are we going? What are we doing here?" You know?
Yeah. Count the ones that are for me, but don't count the ones that are against me. Basically, what it was like.
Okay. Are we counting or we're not counting? What's going on here? You know,
it's for them.
Also, let's take away multiple of drop boxes or voting centers in colored communities.
It's crazy, brother.
Yeah, hell of voter suppression. Ballot or the voter rolls being purged, so people weren't registered, even though they thought they were registered, but they unregistered them. Yeah, all kinds of stupid shit.
Yeah.
It's just another way of voter suppression, man. It's honestly what it is. It's like you're gonna have the record number of minorities coming out this election because of the such discrimination against minorities, Black, Latino, Asians, and Muslims or Middle Eastern people, right? And then so that they're gonna have a high turnout. And in these countries that were swings, or these states that were swing states that could potentially go either way, I mean, those are the ones that were being most, where the suppression was very visible. In Georgia, they had the black voters waiting about 3 to 4 hours just to vote. You couldn't cast a vote until the day of. So it's like these were all intentional strategies by the system to try to get less and less votes.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the name of the lady who rallied all those black votes for Georgia. I forgot her name, but she
Stacey
did.
Abrams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stacey Abrams.
Beast, dude.
Not J.J. Abrams, but also a beast.
Eh.
She made that ballot box explode. But yeah, she registered a bunch of voters, like 2 years before the whole thing happened. She kept running people. It was she did a lot of good grassroots work, man.
Not only that, but you have to also consider that Trump was against a lot of people, like political figures, like in sports, and all these people came out in record numbers to push for their organization to accept votes as well. Like the NBA came out, every
NFL,
right? They would help people. You could drop votes off at the the stadiums, things like that. So they opened up all these avenues because of the you know um, the political or personal conflicts that they had with Trump. Like Trump attacked LeBron James, dude. I mean, it's LBJ, dude. How are you gonna go against LBJ? You're more than 9 out of 10 times you're gonna come out losing on the field or on the basketball court. So
yeah,
it's a trip, dude. Like, I mean, he has a lot of push. Like LeBron James is a political figure, or I mean, a public figure, and he has a lot of push with people.
He also funded a lot of good community programs in Ohio.
In Ohio.
Yeah.
He's a Akron kid, dude.
Yeah.
Akron, my bad.
No, was it Akon who went back to Africa and got electricity for the whole city? I mean, the whole for the whole country.
I think he started a city, dude.
Yep.
I want to say he
started a city.
No, Akon did work.
Yeah, I think he really started a city. Yeah, I wanted to say he did. He brought electricity though to I don't know how many.
Like the continent of Africa, right?
Yeah, he made Wakanda. He made Wakanda over there. That's what Akon made Wakanda.
Yeah, and I think Trump also went after Black Panther.
Yeah,
he said some shit, right? And then people were like, damn it, dude, what is his name? I can't believe he just ghosted out on his name.
Bozeman.
Yeah.
Bozeman?
Black Panther?
Right? Yeah, something Bozeman.
I was say Chris Hardwick. No, Chris Broderick. Chris.
It's Bozeman.
Bosworth.
Fuck me.
You disconnected.
Yeah. Joe, you still alive?
Yeah, I'm here.
Damn, what is that buzzing now sound? Text messages?
Texas.
Damn.
We should wrap it up soon, bro.
Yeah, I think we went about 2 hours.
Chadwick
Brosnan, yeah.
I knew his last name was Bozeman.
I don't know why I kept saying Chris.
Because you're racist. Thought his name was Chris Rock.
Shit.
Dang.
Damn. Accuse me on my own YouTube channel?
Yep.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Well, I'm with Miro though. We gotta wrap this shit up. I got some football to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey man, thank you for this 2-hour experience. We jumped around a lot, but it was good stuff, good flow of thoughts.
We didn't even cover everything.
We didn't even cover it, dude. There's too much to cover.
It's too much ass, dude.
And there's just so much to happen, especially in 2020. And we just mainly talking about 2020. We didn't even talk about all the other things that happened this whole presidency.
Yeah.
But it was a good conversation. I like it. Hopefully you guys will come back and do this again. You don't have to talk about Trump. We can talk about the DNC and how they're going to change the system or revolutionize, the liberal voters. Or we can talk about Trump again, our boy.
Yeah.
Oh, not my boy. Vasilius' boy.
Easiest guy to target, right?
He's the Parler boy.
He's yeah. Well, I'll definitely be back anytime. So just let me know.
Yeah, we don't even have to talk about politics. We could talk about fantasy football or sitting on Joey's face. Or
fantasy football, and how much Romero sucks assholes.
Or we could talk about the crazy stories of fantasy football. Or like the one year that everybody almost killed each other because they tried to cancel the season after a trade happened at 3:00 in the morning.
Who was that?
I don't know. I heard it was a crazy story. I heard like somebody slipped a trade in, and then they tried to cancel the season, and then people who never won before were in the lead, and then they almost fought.
Dang, I don't remember that one.
Was it Boo League or Boo Boo League?
Must have been in the Boo Boo.
Okay. So there's a couple of those. One of them is Strings League. The owner of Strings changed the rules mid-season, and it went from a league vote for vetoes to a commissioner vote, and he vetoed MC and Wally's trade.
Oh, that's what happened. It wasn't that like 3 years ago, right?
No, that was just recently.
Recently, yeah.
That was a couple weeks ago.
But then also in White Boy League, I traded Zach, Christian McCaffrey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Chris Godwin for Alvin Kamara.
Oh no, I think it was like Jaime. It was Jaime and his brother Orlando. Like Jaime tried to make
we blocked it.
You blocked it, right? And Jaime got pissed or something, right?
Yeah, no, we blocked.
Oh, wasn't it like a trade went through, and then Jaime or somebody tried to do the trade the next day, but then that got blocked, and then they were like, "Why did this trade go through? But this trade didn't go through," and then they almost fought.
It's because they were bailing players. So like Londo's team was losing, and Jaime's team was going to be in playoffs, so he was giving them all his best players, and we blocked that shit.
Oh,
strategy, bro.
Well,
yeah, I was trying to stack the team for playoffs.
You think they did because they were brothers, or because he sucked them off?
Probably they were brothers, yeah.
Oh yeah,
or a little bit of both.
Oh, Central Valley is the South. Well, on that note, goodbye everyone. We'll come back again. We'll do this. Thank you so much.
Later, guys. Have a good one. Later.